All right, and welcome back. So, I'm here with a couple of articles that will just kind of sum up a lot of observations concerning Harry and Meghan's trip to Colombia and also their previous one to Nigeria, and something that a lot of outlets globally have been noticing about the coverage, have been noticing especially from the angle of some outlets in the UK and the royalists or royal experts. So, let's get into this. First of all, we will have two perspectives here from The Cut and from BBC. So let's just get into this. So I'll read it as is, both articles, and then we will have our thoughts. So let's discuss. The article, thecut.com, says this, quote, "Before they made their big leap to North American life, Prince Harry and his wife Meghan pitched an ambitious plan. Harassment by the tabloid press having become too much for the couple to bear, they proposed a sort of hybrid working model under which they could live outside the United Kingdom, continuing to support and represent the Crown on their own dime rather than the British taxpayers. The Queen reportedly reasoning that Harry and Meghan would wind up leveraging their titles for financial gain, sensed a looming conflict of interest and said no. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex stepped down as working royals, decamped to Montecito, California, and became estranged from the family. Rather than embarking on the philanthropy circuit they initially appeared to envision, they quickly pivoted to media, inking multi-million-dollar deals with Spotify, Netflix, and Penguin Random House. But over the past couple of months, the couple seems to be returning to a more familiar format. First came their professional rebrand over the palace-coded Sussex.com, and then came the business trips, multi-day visits to different countries, punctuated by official events highlighting some of their chief causes. These jaunts, with their carefully orchestrated press-heavy itineraries, look a lot like royal tours, a resemblance that has inflamed certain segments of the UK media. As the couple sets off on a 4-day trip through Colombia, you may be wondering, what are they doing there? Why are they doing it? And how is that going over with the haters? End quote. The article went on to talk about Harry and Meghan and their trip to Colombia. I won't cover that because we've already gone over all that on this channel. Links will be in the cards and at the end screen. But they do go on to ask this. The article says, quote, "And people are upset about this." And of course, the summary of that being that the vice president of Colombia invited them because she offered them, quote, "the exceptional opportunity to engage with leaders, youth, and women who embody the aspirations and voices of Colombians committed to progress," end quote. And of course, we know they highlighted emotional well-being in education. They also touched on social media and also experienced the country, the arts, the culture, the food, the music, and all of that. And they also met with the Invictus Games competitors from Colombia as well. So a lot was done. They also touched on building healthier digital spaces for especially the young people. And basically, all in all, a lot of good work done. And the article here goes on to ask, quote, "And people are upset about this? Why?" The article goes on to explain, quote, "Again, the format of the trip is basically the same as a royal tour in which senior members of the royal family visit a country, either at the UK government's request or the host country's invitation, and complete a whirlwind series of stops that are usually engineered to highlight a few key local issues. The royals will meet with important people, sample the national cuisine, and generally try to wrangle some goodwill towards the monarchy while getting aggressively papped. They have a varying degree of success." And then they refers to Prince William and Kate's Caribbean tour in 2022. And the article goes on to say, quote, "This is the part of the job Meghan and Harry wanted to keep doing, but were told they couldn't. So the idea that they might now be having their cake and eating it too has stirred up some of their critics and, if you believe the tabloids, maybe even Harry's family members. After the couple undertook a 3-day visit to Nigeria, a country formerly under Britain's colonial rule, in May, the Mirror reported that William was, quote, absolutely furious, end quote, while King Charles was, quote, said to be angrier than anyone has ever seen him, end quote. So the article goes on to cover Harry and Meghan's trip to Nigeria, which says this, quote, between May 10th and 13th, at the invitation of the country's chief of defense staff, the couple went to a school in Abuja to talk mental health. Harry then visited a military hospital, while Meghan spoke at a women's leadership summit. They gave speeches, they attended a charity volleyball match, they hit various receptions, and they even appeared at a polo fundraiser. And royal reporter Simon Perry, who covered the couple's trip, observed, quote, all the hallmarks of an official visit, despite not being officially labeled as such, end quote. Perry assured readers, quote, having covered numerous royal tours, every aspect mirrored the essence of royal engagements, end quote. Harry and Meghan subsequently said the trip had special meaning for them, Meghan having discovered from a genealogy test that she's 43% Nigerian, and she called the country my country in quotes, while addressing her fellow women in leadership. Quote, these trips are about us being able to go out and focus on the things that mean so much to us, end quote, Harry told People, and went on to say, quote, and being able to be on the ground to us is what it's all about, end quote. But the article goes on to say, quote, but that's precisely the attitude that had the royal watchers seething. Quote, for Charles and William, it is as if Meghan and Harry are saying, we don't need your permission to be working royals. We will do it on our own terms, whenever and wherever we like, end quote. Author Tom Quinn told The Mirror, speaking to the Daily Mail, former BBC journalist and royal correspondent Michael Cole said the couple, quote, exploited their royal status to the limit and in every way trying to give the impression that it was the real thing, end quote. Still, the reviews weren't all bad. Tina Brown, journalist and royal biographer, told the BBC that the visit illuminated for her a, quote, Harry-shaped hole in the monarchy, end quote. Quote, I felt like this is what could have been. These two, who are enormously appealing to the public and who are very good at it, were out there in Nigeria looking very attractive and being appealing people. And what a pity it is they've gone, end quote, she said. So the article asks, so is it just the royal positioning that people are upset about? The article goes on to say, mostly, but with regards to Colombia, critics have lodged a few other more specific complaints. I'll sum this up quickly. They talked about Harry visiting, quote, a dangerous country, as they say, while also making big issue about personal protection in the UK, according to them. And the article pointed out that Colombia having a potential for terrorism or kidnapping in certain parts of the country were places that did not feature on the Sussex's itinerary. Others suggested that the country was using the couple's star power to burnish its own reputation, according to the Telegraph. So they talked about the danger of Harry and Meghan being, quote, naive. Cole saying to the Telegraph, quote, there is a danger of their celebrity and willingness to help underprivileged people is being undermined by a certain naivete, end quote. But the article caps it off by saying, but if you ask me, it's the doing official royal things without using official royal channels aspect that's really getting to the critics. The quasi-royal tours are basically the Sussex's royal reboot come to life, end quote. So that is the cut covering Harry and Meghan, and then we'll go over quickly to the BBC, so let's see what they said about this. All right, on to BBC coverage of this, and the article here says, quote, Prince Harry and Meghan may no longer be working royals, but on their tour to Colombia, they still received a stately welcome. They were there on the invitation of the country's vice president, Francia Márquez. That also meant they received a heavy government-backed security operation throughout the trip. They no longer get this in the UK, something that they've argued to the UK government and royal family that they should, especially given they have been targeted by threats and abuse in the past. It was their second overseas visit in just a few months, having traveled to Nigeria earlier this year. So what was it for? Primarily, they say this was about promoting their charity work, trying to make the internet safe for children. They spent the first 2 days talking to activists, experts, and school children about the impact of social media on young people and took part in a summit on internet safety. So the article goes on to give more details, which I've covered here, so I'll skip past that. And the article goes on to say, quote, part of the visit was also to learn about Colombia's culture and history. Marquez is the first black woman to be a vice president of the country and explained that she had invited Meghan for an International Day of Afro-Descendant Women last year, which she could not attend, so this trip was then planned instead. The couple joined her at events. They also met the Invictus Games team. As I said, I covered all of that, and then they also went on to say this, quote, "The couple and government only allowed their own videographers and photographers into most of the events, which they say was to make sure events were represented accurately," in quotes. Footage was released daily with no sound. They took with them only one pool reporter from Harper's Bazaar, who released daily updates to the media about what they were doing, copying in their spokespeople and publicity team. So BBC went on to say that they did not rely on that material as they were not present to verify what was said and described, but they were able to attend the summit and watch some events from the sidelines. The article goes on to say, at their visit to a village with strong African connections, San Basilio de Palenque, a square was cordoned off where some stalls and a stage with music had been set up for them to visit. The article goes on to say Prince Harry and Meghan have been explicit about their concerns about press intrusion on their lives, particularly from British tabloids. They have received threats online and have had many legal battles with newspapers about invasions of privacy. As a result, some royal watchers did raise questions like, why do such a high-profile visit, which seems in part about publicity too, for both the hosts and the guests? For Prince Harry and Meghan, this was about promoting their campaigns to make the internet safer and some of their initiatives like a new parent network to support parents of children who had suffered harm online. They also go on to say it was about maintaining their influence and visibility on the world stage and showing that they can still attract audiences with global leaders. For the government here, it was clear the vice president hopes their charitable foundation may consider supporting some of the social projects they visited. It was also good publicity for Marquez ahead of the elections next year. Some speculate she may run for president, with the current president Gustavo Petro suffering from poor approval ratings. It also goes on to talk about the crowds of armed military lining the streets in vast numbers, in part because Marquez herself had had threats on her life. The Sussexes have said they fear doing similar high-profile events in the UK after suffering violent threats online, and because they no longer receive the government-funded security they did as working royals. They have asked the royal family and UK government if this could change. This second international tour in just a few months, though, suggests perhaps international campaigning is where their focus may now turn instead. The invitations from government figures like Marquez, who come with their own security operation, suggests a future model for how the couple could work safely and on their own terms outside the royal structure, end quote. So the article ends there. Now, two perspectives. So BBC's right there and the cuts right there. So in the comment section, I know a lot of you have been typing, share your thoughts. My thoughts on this is this. Harry, having been a senior working royal, this is all he has known all his life. Prince Harry, having been born into that institution and basically been put into that role that he had on the international stage. You know, it was one thing for Meghan to join in, but this is all that Harry has ever known. So my point to this is, when Harry and Meghan initially offered to have the half-in, half-out role, it was because we all know this. When we tell people about their careers and what they do, we tell them to focus on their strengths. What is Prince Harry's strength? Isn't it what he has been good at all of the years of his life? Using his platform, the global attention on him, to draw a spotlight to issues that matter to him, whether wildlife conservation or the military community through the Invictus Games, stuff like that. That's all he has known. And when he was a senior working royal, as the articles have pointed out, he was the one who was sent as an ambassador of sorts to go and basically give the monarchy a good light in some of these Commonwealth countries and other countries. So this is his strength. And them saying that it's having their cake and eating it too, I don't think so. This is what Harry was born into. It's what he was born to do. And Meghan, when she came alongside him, she was just such a fantastic team player. with her skills of public speaking. Her actress background as well came in clutch for that role. She's just such a commanding presence on camera. She's captivating, and as a couple, they were just dialed up to a 10, right? So what are they going to do? Are they going to shelve their God-given gifts just because some people in some country feel like they should only use them on the terms of senior working royal, end quote? No, come on. So share your thoughts about this in the comment section. I'm happy that they're finding a way forward. The governments who invite them on behalf of their countries are very willing to provide them the protection that is necessary for them to work where their strengths are in their gifts. And I'm looking forward to seeing so much more from the couple. So share thoughts on this news in the comment section. I want to know your highlights of these articles here and your perspectives and things that you've witnessed. Those of you who have been seeing the coverage on the couple, share your thoughts on how it's been covered, them being in Colombia, them being in Nigeria, and them now taking their gifts, taking their strengths to the world stage, and the love and the global attention that they are receiving. Share thoughts on that in the comment section below. And now, before we log off, allow me to thank those of you who support this channel financially and shout out a couple of you here by name. A very special thank you to you. Aminata Jah for the love and support and kindness, and for being such a long-time supporter of this channel. I appreciate you for giving and for your love that is so tangible. I love you. God bless you. Thank you as well to you, Verbena New Year. Once again, such a faithful giver towards my work here on YouTube. Thank you so much. I appreciate you for choosing to accompany me here on this YouTube journey. I am so blessed to know you. Thank you. And a very special thank you to you, Anna Thorne. Anna, you warm me by your kindness and love, and know that I am always thinking of you and praying for you. We love you so very much. Thank you for choosing to be a blessing to me and to all of us. I love you. God bless you. Once again, thank you to all who support this channel financially, and to those who like, comment, and share. It truly does help out the channel. Like this one and subscribe, and follow on Twitter or X. I'd love to see you on there for more informal posts. Have a great day. Keep it here for more, and I will catch you in the next one. Have a blessed one.